How's it going, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Operating Room. I'm your host, Kev Mahserejian, aka at RotoSurgeon from Twitter, and today's topic is going to be all about fantasy basketball players to sell high. We are now in week 6 of the fantasy basketball season, about 20 games in for the most part. We now have a decent enough sample to judge these players off of and see whether some are underperforming, overperforming, or are just at about a median level. So some players I do believe are overperforming are going to be discussed, about 3 of them today. Before I get into any of that, make sure to go check out RotoBaller.com for all of your fantasy sports needs. Whether that be football, baseball, basketball, hockey, golf, MMA, video games, doesn't matter. If you want it, we got it over at rotoballer.com. Come check out all of our great premium packages with our draft kits and strategy guides. Use promo code KEV at checkout, KEV, K-E-V, to get 10% off. Use this promo code on our premium packages to help you win big in 2021 and beyond. So the first player I want to get into today is Jordan Clarkson, combo guard for the Utah Jazz. Now, Jordan Clarkson's having a pretty good year, at arguably his best. He's putting up a career high in field goal percentage, free throw percentage, scoring. His steals are up to 1 per game. But he's also doing, for the most part, the same in rebounding, assists, turnovers, and elsewhere. His free throw percentage is incredible right now, 96%, but he's only taking 1.5 per game. His field goal is about 47.5 right now, and that's a tick higher than it usually is at around 44-45%. We've seen this decline. Just last week, it was at 49%, so we're already seeing that regress a tad. His percentage, in my opinion, is going to dip as soon as he starts taking more per game. He's usually like an 80% free throw shooter. Maybe that could go up to 85%, but he's surely not 96%. So you have a player who's overperforming across the board. Jordan Clarkson last year was the 141st ranked player He was the 141st ranked player in 9-cap fantasy leagues. This Jordan Clarkson is not so much different than that Jordan Clarkson. There's a little bit of a volume boost in scoring, but once his percentages go down, this is going to be the same old Jordan Clarkson we've seen. Obviously, he's playing on a much better team than he's used to. He was with the Cavs and Lakers when they were terrible, so his percentages across the board maybe not have been as good as they should have been, but he is not this player that he's seeming to be right now. He is a major sell. He's performing at a top 50 level. He's closer to top 75, top 100 if anything, if not lower, honestly. So if you can sell Jordan Clarkson for something nice right now, I would go ahead and jump on that. The second player I want to discuss is someone near and dear to my heart, and that is Myles Turner, big man for the Indiana Pacers, averaging a lot of the similar numbers throughout his recent years. He's averaging about 15 points per game, 6.5 rebounds, 1 assist, but his blocks and steals are so high right now that he's a top 10 player in 9-cap fantasy league. Field goal percentage is at 50% for the second time in his career, and that is a sustainable rate. He only takes about 10 shots per game. A bunch are coming from 3, but his 3-point percentage is about 33%, which he's averaged throughout his career. So we don't have to worry about those. Free throw is about where it's been in the low 70% range, so that's not too much of an outlier. But his block rate is right now at 11%. That is 3% higher than his past career high at about 8. He's averaging half a steal more per game than he's used to. So Myles Turner is just overperforming. We know he's going to be good. There is reason to suspect if he were to get traded, which I doubt, he could see an increase in value. Unless there's a Domantas Sabonis injury. I know he's dealing with a knee right now, but he should be back by next week, if anything. Myles Turner's value is pretty much shot once his steals and blocks kind of regress back to the norm. He's doing exactly what he's done throughout his career. There's nothing really out of the ordinary with him. So once we see his blocks go down to about 3 per game and his steals go down to just about 1, he's going to be about a top 30 player in the league, not a top 10 player for fantasy. So Myles Turner, definitely a sell. If you can buy low on someone like John Collins plus another asset, I would go ahead and do that if you're looking to sell Myles Turner right now. Another player, Jerami Grant. Jerami Grant's obviously having a career year. He's averaging 24 points per game, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, a block and steal about per game as well. His field goal percentage is decent at 44%, but what I'm most worried about is his free throw percentage right now. He's averaging an 86% free throw, and that is just so out of the ordinary for Jerami Grant. He's closer to a mid-70s field goal free throw percentage, if not lower. Now, his free throw percentage has gotten better since 2016, 2017 incrementally, but I just can't buy that he's now a mid-80s free throw shooter, especially on 6 shots per game. On 6 free throw attempts per game, if he's averaging about 70%, if that does regress, you're seeing a player who's going to be sinking you in that free throw category instead of helping you as he is now. So if you could sell Jerami Grant, don't expect a dip in his counting stats. His points, rebounds, assists can stay similar. Maybe steals and blocks do go down a tick, but not so much that it really does affect you. You're selling him based on his free throw percentage. Obviously, he is a major sell right now because a lot of people don't believe Jerami Grant's Jerami Grant. So if you want to hold and if no one's really offering anything of value, yeah, for sure, hold. He's not a major sell, but another thing I am worried about is late in season. The Detroit Pistons are one of the worst, if not the worst team in the league. They have the worst win percentage in the entire NBA, and if if Jerami Grant were to get hurt at any point in the season, there's a major possibility that they just shut him down and keep him for next year, given that he is proving himself as a core piece for this Pistons roster that is bereft of talent. They only have Killian Hayes, a top 10 pick from last year, who's barely playing because of a labrum tear, and then you have Mason Plumlee, Sekou Doumbouya, who we've barely seen, Derrick Rose, who's on his way out. This Pistons roster is terrible. They want as many young, good pieces as they can. This is just a situation that I want to sell a good player on a bad team. I don't like having these kinds of players towards the playoffs because they are more often to sit than not if they were to get hurt. So Jerami Grant, definitely a sell. If you want to hold him for the short term and then sell him later on after he proves himself a little more after a week or two, yeah, that's totally fine. Hopefully his free throw percentage doesn't dip by then. But ideally, you want to dump him before it's too late, even though I do believe his counting stats are sustainable. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode of The Operating Room. Make sure to go rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts. Follow on Spotify. Like this video and subscribe to the RotoBaller YouTube page. And see you next time.